Hello, good evening, my dear classmate. My name is Risa I. Campos. So today I'm going to talk about organization culture. So I was assigned to discuss the following outline, namely the nature of organization culture and creating the organization culture. So to understand more this topic, so let's know first the learning objectives. First, at the end of this discussion, you will be able to define organization culture, explain how it affects employees' behavior, and understand its historical roots. The last one is describe how to create organization culture. Okay, what does organization culture means? According to J.C. Spender, organization culture, a belief system shared by an organization's member. So it is the set of values that helps organizations employee understand which action are considered acceptable and unacceptable. So these values define good or acceptable behaviors and bad or unacceptable behaviors. So in some organizations, for example, it is unacceptable to blame customers. So when problem arises, here the value the customer is always right tells managers what action are unacceptable or not or sorry are acceptable, so meaning to say not blaming the customer, and what actions are not unacceptable are not acceptable, which is the blaming of customer. Sorry. In other core organizations, the dominant values might support blaming customers for problems. So penalizing employees who make mistake or treating employees as the organization most valuable asset. So in each case, values help members of an organization understand how they should act. Okay, some example of unacceptable behavior are first, aggressive or abusive behavior such as shouting, personal insult or harassment. So most people think of violence as a physical assault. However, workplace violence and harassment is a much broader problem. It can be defined as any act in which a person is abused, threatened, intimidated, or assaulted in his or her employment. Okay. The second one, spreading malicious rumors or gossip or insulting someone. Spreading rumors about coworkers is inadvisable. Generally, for one thing, your coworkers won't like or trust you. So worse, at a certain point, a negative rumor about a coworker can get you sued. So in civil law, there are four characteristics of negative statements. If a statement has all four, it becomes defamation of character. Okay, the third one is discrimination or harassment. Discrimination or harassment when related to a protected characteristic under the Equality of Act 2010. Discrimination means being treated differently or unfairly. Discrimination in employment is illegal when the treatment is based on a personal characteristics or status such as sex or race, which is protected under anti-discrimination law. Since the law prohibits discrimination based only on certain protected categories, not every form of discriminatory or unfair treatment is illegal. So, discrimination can be expressed through a harassment when a boss, supervisor, or co-worker says an intimidating, hostile, or threatening work environment. So, harassment is illegal if it is based on a personal characteristic or status protected under anti discrimination laws. To be illegal, the harassment must be so severe or pervasive that it interferes with the employee's ability to perform the job. Okay, so here comes the features of organization culture. There are seven features of organization culture, namely innovative, aggressive, out, outcome oriented, stable, people oriented, team oriented, detail oriented. Okay, innovation for the innovation culture or innovative culture is the work environment that leaders cultivate in order to nurture unorthodox thinking and its application. So, workplaces that foster a culture of innovation generally subscribe to the belief that innovation is not the province of top leadership but can come from anyone in the organization. According to the OCP framework, companies that have innovative culture are flexible and adaptable and experiment with new ideas. So these companies are characterized by a flat hierarchy in which titles and other status distinctions tend to be downplayed. For example, WL Gorey and Associate Incorporated is a company with innovative products such as Goritex, the breathable fabric that is windproof and waterproof. So Glide Dental Floss and Elixir Guitar String, earning the company the distinction of being elected as the most innovative company in the United States by Fast Company magazine in 2000, 2004. So WL Gorey consistently manages to innovate and capture the majority of market share in a wide variety of industry, in large part due to its unique culture. In this company, employees do not have bosses in the traditional sense, and risk-taking is encouraged by celebrating failures as well as success, according to Dutchman 2004. The second one is aggressive culture. Aggressive culture companies with aggressive culture value competitiveness and outperforming competitors. By emphasizing this, they may fall short in the area of corporate social responsibility. For example, Microsoft Corporation is often identified as a company with an aggressive culture. So the company has faced a number of antitrust lawsuits and disputes with competitors over the years. So in aggressive companies, people may use the language such as "We will kill our competition." Okay, so that is aggressive culture. The next one, outcome oriented culture. The OCP framework describe outcome-oriented culture as those that emphasize achievement, results, and action as important values. So a good example of an outcome-oriented culture may be, let's say, Best Buy Company Incorporated. So having a culture emphasizing sales performance, Best Buy tallies revenue and other relevant figures daily by department. So employees are trained and mentored to sell company products named effectively, and they learn how much money their department made every day. Okay, outcome-oriented culture hold employees as well as managers accountable for success and utilize systems that reward employee and group output. So in this company, it is more common to see rewards tied to performance indicators as opposed to seniority or loyalty. So research indicates that organizations that have a performance-oriented culture tend to outperform companies that are lacking such as culture. So at the same time, some outcome-oriented companies may have such a high drive for outcomes and measurable performance. They may suffer negative consequences. So company over rewarding employee performance such as Enron Corporation and WorldCon experience well publicized business and ethical failures. So when performance pressure lead to the culture where unethical behaviors become the norm, individuals see their peers as a rival or short-term. Results are rewarded. So the resulting unhealthy work environment serve as a liability. Okay, the next one, people-oriented culture. People-oriented culture value fairness, supportiveness, and respect for individual rights. These organizations truly live the mantra that people are their greatest asset. So, in addition for having fair procedure and management styles, these companies create an atmosphere where work is fun and employees do not feel required to choose between work and other aspects of their lives. So in this organization, there is a greater emphasis on and an expectation of treating people with respect and dignity. So, one study of new employees in accounting companies found that employees on average stayed 14 months longer in companies with people-oriented culture. So, another one, Starbucks Corporation is an example of a people-oriented culture. So, the company pays employees above minimum wage, offer healthcare and tuition reimbursement benefits to its part-time, as well as full-time employees, and has creative perks such as weekly free coffee for all associates. So as a result of these policies, the company benefits from a turnover rate lower than the industry average. So another one is motivation secrets. So the company is routinely ranked as one of the places to work by Fortune magazine. Okay, that is people-oriented culture. The next one is companies with team-oriented culture are collaborative and emphasis cooperation among employees. For example, Southwest Airlines company facilitate a team-oriented culture by cross-training its employee so that they are capable of helping each other when needed. So the company also places emphasis on training intact work team. Okay, employees participate in twice daily meeting name, morning overview meetings or MOM, and daily after discussion or DOD, where they collaborate to understand sources and problems and determine future courses of action. Okay, so that is team-oriented culture. Okay, the next one is organization. No, no, sorry. Detail-oriented culture. So, detail-oriented culture are characterized in the OCP framework as emphasizing precision and paying attention to such detail. So, such a culture gives a competitive advantage to companies in the hospitality industry by helping them differentiate themselves from others. So, for example, Four Seasons Hotel Ltd. And the Ritz-Carlton Company LLC are among hotels who keep records of all customers' requests, such as which newspaper the guest prefer or what type of pillow the customer uses. So this information is put into a computer system and used to provide better service to returning customers. So any request hotel employees receive as well as over here might be entered into the database to serve customers better. Okay, detail-oriented culture. The next one is stable culture. So service culture is not one of the dimension of SCP, but given the importance of the retail industry in the overall economy, having a service culture can make or break an organization. Some of the organization we have illustrated in this section, such as Nordstrom's, Southwest Airlines, Ritz-Carlton, and Four Seasons are also famous for their service culture. And so in these organizations, employees are trained to serve the customer well and cross-training in the norm. So employees are empowered to resolve customer problems in ways they see fit. So because employees with direct customer contact are in the best position to resolve any issues, employee empowerment is truly valued in these companies. For example, Umpqua Bank, operating in the northwestern United States, is known for its service culture. So all employees are trained in all tasks to enable any employee to help customers when needed. Okay, branch employees may come up with the unique ways in which they serve customers better, such as opening their lobby for community events or keeping bowls full of water for customers' pet. So the branches feature coffee for customer. Enter kiosk and withdrawn funds are given on a tray along with a piece of chocolate. Wow. So they also reward employee service performance through bonuses and incentive. Okay, now historical foundation. Let's know the historical roots of organization culture. In other words, historical foundation. So although research on organization culture exploded into the science in the early 1980s, the antecedents of this research can be traced to the origin of social science. Understanding the contribution of other social science discipline is particularly important in the case of organization culture because many of the dilemmas and debates that continue in this area reflect differences in historical research tradition. The first is anthropological contribution. So anthropology is the study of human culture. Of all the social sciences, anthropology is the most closely related to the study of culture and cultural phenomena. Anthropologists seek to understand how the values and beliefs that make up a society's culture affect the structure and functioning of that society. So many anthropologists believe that to understand the relationship between the culture and society, it is necessary to look at the culture from the viewpoint of the people who practice it. From the native's point of view, so to reach this level of understanding, anthropologists immerse themselves in the values, symbols, people in society use to bring order and meaning to their lives. So anthropologists usually produce book-length description of the values, attitude, and beliefs that underlie the behaviors of people in one or two culture. Whether the culture is that of a large modern corporation or primitive tribe in New Guinea of the or the Philippines. So the question asked are the same. How do people in this culture know what kinds of behavior are acceptable and unacceptable? How is the knowledge understood and how is this knowledge communicated to new members? So through intense effort to produce accurate description, the values and the beliefs that underlie action in an organization become clear. So however, these values can be fully understood only in the context of organization in which they develop. Okay, in other words, a description of the values and beliefs of one is not transferable to those of other organizations. So each culture is unique. Okay, the next one is social contribution. So sociology is the study of people in the social systems such as organizations and societies. So sociologists have long been interested in the causes and consequences of culture. So in studying culture, sociologists have most often focused on informal social structure. Okay, Emily Durkheim, an important early sociologist, argued that the study of the myth and ritual is essential complement to the study of structure and rational behavior in society. Okay, by studying rituals, Durkheim argued we can understand the most basic values and beliefs of a group of people. Many sociological methods and theories have been used in the analysis of organization culture. Sociologists use systematic interviews, questionnaires, and other quantitative research methods rather than the intense study and analysis of anthropologists. The next one is social psychology contribution. It includes the study of groups and the influence of social factors on individuals. Although most research on organization culture has used anthropological or sociological method and approaches, some has borrowed heavily from social psychology. Social psychology theory, with its emphasis on the creation and manipulation of symbols, lends itself naturally to the analysis of organization culture. For example, research in social psychology suggests that people tend to use stories or information about a single event more than they use multiple observations to make judgment. Thus, if your neighbor had trouble with a certain brand of automobile, you will probably conclude that the brand is bad, even though the car company can generate reams of statistical data to prove that the situation with your neighbor's car was a rarity. Today, it does not even have to be sharing stories with a neighbor because the proliferation of website, blogs, and product reviews on the internet enables everyone to share stories, reviews of all kinds of products and services. So the impact of stories on decision making suggests an important reason that organization culture such has such a powerful influence on the people in an organization. Unlike other organization phenomena, culture is best communicated through stories and example, and this become the basis that individuals in the organization use to make judgment. If a story say that blaming customer is a bad thing to do, then blaming customer is a bad thing to do. So this value is communicated much more effectively through the cultural story than through some statistical analysis of customer satisfaction. Okay, now economic contribution. The influence of economic contribution on study of organization culture is substantial enough to warrant attention. Through it has been less significant than the influence of anthropology and sociology. Economic analysis treats organization culture as one of the variety of tools that managers can use to create some economic advantage for the organization. So the economic approach attempts to link the cultural attributes of firms with their performance rather than simply describing the culture of companies as a sociological and anthropological perspective too. So researchers disagree about the extent to which culture affects organization performance. So several authors have investigated the condition under which organization culture is linked with superior financial performance. So this research suggests that under some relatively narrow condition, a link between culture and performance may exist. However, the fact that a firm has a culture does not mean it will perform well. Indeed, a variety of cultural traits can actually hurt performance. For example, a firm could have a culture that includes values such as customers are too ignorant to be of much help. So employees cannot be trusted. Innovation is not important and quality is too expensive. So the firm would have a strong culture, but the culture might impair its performance. So Walmart, known for its retaining expertise and its culture of respect for individuals, is also becoming known as a company whose culture does not lead to success for women. Okay, let's differentiate organization culture and organization climate. Some managers feel that these two are quite different in terms, while others feel they are similar concepts as both of them concerned with overall work atmosphere in organization. Culture is based on anthropology and social, while climate is based on psychology. So climate refers to current situation in organizations, whereas culture refers to the historical context and its input on employee behavior. So culture deals with the values and norms, and it is difficult to alter it in short run, but does not deal with values and norms. It is concerned with the current atmosphere in an organization. So those are the things that we need to ponder. Okay. So now, the next one, creating the organization culture. So companies need to create organization culture for their business to be stable. So how organization culture is created? So there are 5 steps on creating an organizational culture. Step 1, formulate the strategic values, develop cultural values, create value vision, initiate implementation strategy, reinforce cultural behavior. So first is strategic values are the basic beliefs about an organization environment that shape its strategy. They are developed following an environmental scanning process and strategic analysis that evaluate economic, demographic, public policy, technological, and social trends to identify needs in the marketplace that the organization can meet. Strategic values in effect link the organization with its environment. So, for example, the Dell company believed that customer would, if the price was right, buy computers from a catalog rather than to go computer stores, as the conventional wisdom dictated they would. So a 6.8 billion business resulted. So the second set of required values includes the cultural of the organization. So cultural values are the values employees need to have and to act on for the organization to carry out its strategic values. They should be grounded in the organization belief about how and whether it can succeed. Organizations that attempt to develop cultural values that are not linked to their strategic values may end up with an empty set of values that have little relationship to their business. In other words, employees need to value work. behaviors that are consistent with a support and organization strategic values: low cost production, customer service, or technical innovation. The next one is create vision. So after developing its strategic and cultural values, the organization must establish a vision of its direction. This vision is a picture of what the organization will be like at some point in the future. It portrays how the strategic and cultural values will combine to create the future. For example, an insurance company might establish a vision of protecting the lifestyle of 2 million families by the year 2020. In effect, it synthesizes both the strategic and the cultural values as it communicates a performance target to employees. So the conventional wisdom has been that the vision statement is written first, but the experience suggests that for the vision to be meaningful, the strategic and cultural values must be established first. The next step, initiating implementation strategies, builds on the values and initiate the action to accomplish the vision. So the strategies covers manufacture, from developing the organization design to recruiting and training employees who share the values and will carry them out. Consider a bank that has a traditional orientation of handling customers, loan, deposit, and saving. So if the bank changes, placing more emphasis on the customer service, it may have to recruit a different type of employee, one who is capable of building relationship. The bank will also have to commit to serious long-term training of its current employees to teach them the new service-oriented culture. So the strategic and cultural values are the stimuli for the implementation practice. Okay, the next one is reinforce cultural behavior. The final step is to reinforce cultural behaviors of employees as they act out the cultural values implementation, the organization strategies. Reinforcement can take many forms. First, the formal reward system in the organization must reward desired behaviors in ways that employees value. Second, stories must be told throughout the organization about employees who engage in behaviors that epitomize the cultural values. Third, the organization must engage in ceremonies and rituals that emphasize employees doing the things that are critical to carrying out the organization's vision. In effect, the organization must make a big deal out of employees doing the right things. For example, if parties are held only for retirement or to give out longevity and service pin, the employees get the message that the retirement and length of the service are the only things that matter. On the other hand, holding a ceremony for a group of employees who provide exceptional customer service reinforce desirable employee behaviors. So reinforcement practices are the final link between the strategic and the cultural values and the creation of the organization culture. Okay, so that's all for my report. I hope that you learned something new and we will apply this in the future, especially when we are going to build our own company. So, thank you for listening and goodbye, everyone. So, the next topic is to be discussed by my co-partner. Bye-bye.